So in this segment, we're going to be talking about how Brexit has made it easier for small boat crossings to reach the UK, according to the refugees. So I did delay originally recording this video because of the tragedy with the recent refugees who had died trying to cross into the UK. So ultimately, we're going to talk about these couple of articles, and there'll be a separate video coming out about how Boris Johnson doesn't understand the Dublin 3 legislation, or that agreement, should I say. So, refugees living in northern France say Brexit has made it easier for them to reach the UK in small boats, as it emerged that record numbers of people have crossed the channel in one day. So despite the worsening weather conditions, it is quite dangerous out there, very cold. And the UK government's attempts to deter them, 1,185 people made a crossing on that Thursday, according to the Home Office. Refugees who have fled a variety of conflict zones, including Sudan, Afghanistan, Iran. There's no physical conflict going on in Iran, but it's very authoritarian. Iraq, Eritrea, told The Guardian they believe the fact the UK Iran is under a massive amount of sanctions from the West as well. They were lowered in previous years, but with the kind of fall of the Iran nuclear deal, thanks to President Trump, they're under sanctions again, so not great. So the fact that the UK was no longer part of the EU made it more appealing to risk the dangerous crossing, because they could no longer be sent back to other European countries under EU legislation. So previously, with the Dublin Agreement, because all asylum seekers and things like that have to be fingerprinted under the Eurodoc in the Eurodoc database, what happens is you can physically track where people have come from, and the UK could say to France or Belgium or whichever country these people are coming from and say, look, we can tell they passed through your country, you need to you have to take them back. So the UK had that ability, now we do not. In October 2020, Johnson said Brexit would enable Britain to take back control of our money, our borders, our laws. So that's not happened at all, especially not the borders one. Nevertheless, while the overall number of people fleeing conflict and claiming asylum in the UK has fallen to 31,115, I'm sure Priti Patel's happy about that, in the last 12 months, the number of crossings from France to the UK in small boats has risen sharply since the UK parted company with the EU. Previously, when the UK was part of the EU under a mechanism known as Dublin 3, the UK could ask other EU countries to take back people they could prove had passed through safe European countries before reaching the UK. So, like I explained a minute ago, it's fairly simple. If the UK could prove that they've come from another EU country, then we could send people back, which, again, I don't agree with, especially because other countries are dealing with far more applications than we are. The UK has not so far struck any bilateral agreements with other EU countries to enable it to replicate the Dublin Agreement, and to be fair, if you're any EU member, why would you agree to it? Because it just benefits the UK. People aren't coming through the UK to travel into other EU member states or into EU member states, it's the other way around. So that's not going to happen, especially with the spat we've created with France recently and all the problems we're creating with the Northern Ireland Protocol. Why would any EU member give us such an agreement unless we're giving them a ton of money? Instead, officials have labelled many claims where they suspect people have passed through other European countries before reaching the UK as inadmissible, so unusable evidence. In practice, this means many asylum seekers are languishing in the system for extended periods by not being sent to other countries to be processed. Even before the UK left the EU, only a few hundred people were sent to other European countries. It could be because the UK didn't have to do it that often. That could be the case there. As we've seen, kind of border crossings increase a lot, and maybe some people in the government thought it's just easier to process applications rather than trying to prove where they've gone through and trying to send them back. The Guardian recently interviewed dozens of asylum seekers in northern France. Many were malnourished, bedraggled, and in a desperate state, and had led a variety of conflict zones. Some had travelled through Libya, where they were detained and trafficked. So again, you've got people who've lived incredibly hard lives, as is just to get to where they are, which is just living on the streets of France or other EU member states. One 19-year-old from Sudan, who is currently in Calais, said, "We believe we will not be safe unless we can reach the UK. Here the French police beat us and evict us every day from places where we are sleeping outside." So instead of building dedicated centres for asylum seekers, essentially you've got people just living in the streets. It brings back memories, bad memories from Libya, where I was locked up and beaten many times by traffickers. Because of Brexit, I believe that once I reach the UK, I will be safe at last. No Dublin, no fingerprints anymore. So, yeah, again, it's very odd this man's directly citing the legislation or these agreements, but it's true that we don't have access to the Eurodac database, we don't have access to the Dublin 3 agreement, so we can't send anyone back. So they know as soon as they get here, they will have to be processed here. He said he had no money to pay smugglers, but would try to find a way to cross in a small group of friends in an abandoned kayak. So that's incredibly difficult to do. A kayak, something you're gonna have to manually push across the English Channel. They are very much putting their life in their hands here. Every night we go to the beach to look for small boats that have been abandoned, and we will try to cross that way. So essentially, they are looking for their opportunity to come here to the UK. And if we had a purpose-built, asylum seeker system, it wouldn't have to be like this, but we don't. So a Home Office spokesperson said there is a global and European migration crisis, and countries have a moral responsibility to tackle the issue of illegal immigration. We expect our international partners to engage with us to stop people making perilous crossings. Maybe if we opened up more safe methods of entry, people would have to stop taking their lives into their hands, but that's clearly something this government will never understand. So we go on a bit more. There's a minister who's in charge of leading a review into the record number of journeys. Let's see, where is it? A review into how to prevent crossings is being led by Stephen Barclay. Stephen Barclay, a guy who I would assume has very little to no experience in anything to do with immigration, so he's going to be the perfect person to pick because he's going to have no idea what the hell he's doing. Priti Patel promising better action. The UK promised to give France £54 million in instalments during the year 2021 to 2022 to help tackle the issue, which hasn't really done a lot in fairness. The deal said the UK would help the French increase police patrols across its coastline, boost aerial surveillance and increase security infrastructure at ports. A record number of people continue to arrive, and to be fair, if you're the French, you really have no incentive to stop people unless you really were concerned about life. But I think at that point, with that 54 million, maybe they'd be better off building centres for dedicated asylum seekers. Maybe we should have come up with a deal with the French to say, look, we're going to help you out financially with judges and lawyers, so you can process applications over there, and if they have family in the UK, they can come here once their asylum request has been processed. But we're not that smart, so no, that's not going to happen. So Conservative MP Tim Loughton said on the Radio Today, the BBC Radio 4's programme, we know the only real solution is for the French to do what they are legally entitled, also legally obliged to do, which is that to intercept boats. Do you know how dangerous it is to intercept a boat and try and force it back? You're going to lead to those people drowning because they will fight back. If they have objects, they'll throw it at the border force agents. They'll do what they think they have to do to get here. So this man, Tim Loughton, absolute fraud. And there's a bit more here. Daily Telegraph reporting Patel was seeking to introduce strict new rules for asylum seekers, similar to those in Greece. The paper said the Home Secretary was impressed by the centres being built in Greece, where migrants were put under strict curfews and face routine checks on their movements. Again, I disagree with most of this, but building dedicated facilities would be a step in the right direction, not authoritarian centres like these are goddamn workhouses or something. But of course, that's what Priti Patel would want to do, wouldn't she? You got Keir Starmer saying he accused the government of failing to deliver on its pledges to reduce migrant channel crossings. He said the UK had not secured strong agreements with France. We haven't secured any real agreement with France to stop them coming here. The Times reported that Tory MPs have warned the Prime Minister the extent of crossings risked becoming an electoral issue for the party, because the party aren't concerned with the economy. That's not doing great. With the rising vacancies and things like that, they're concerned about people coming here in boats. Figures. Ms Patel said this week the EU's open border regime was partly to blame. She says she blames Schengen for it. She told reporters during a visit to the US that she was constantly pressing the French on the issue, but they were overwhelmed. So instead of helping them process applications, we're like, nah, bruv, you got to keep more people over there. The French have no incentive to do anything here. Let's not forget that the real problem on illegal migration flows is the EU has no border protections whatsoever. No, the real problem is us backing authoritarian leaders, putting in sanctions on countries, stopping food getting there and medicines, and among other things. Maybe if we looked at our foreign policy a bit more deeply, there'd be less people trying to come here illegally because they're desperate. But that's a conversation for a different time. The UK ministers admit a big fall in returns of boat arrivals since Brexit, so the number of people who have been sent back to Europe after travelling across the UK in small boats has plummeted. Just 5 people who have made the journey have been sent back. Tom Perglove, a minister for the Home Office and the Ministry of Justice, sounds busy, told the Home Office that there had been difficulty securing returns because we're out of the Dublin Agreement. Yvette Cooper said how many asylum seekers or how many people arriving have been returned to any EU country since January. Persglove replied, on returns related to small boat arrivals, the answer is this year 5. 5 this whole year. That's shocking. Later he added, there is not a returns agreement with the European Union in place at the moment, and I don't think we're going to get one. So that tells you how that's going. Also, the fact that the Home Office is covering up the reasons why asylum seekers come to the UK, and it won't be down to money. It'll be most likely down to the fact that they have a common language, so maybe they do speak English rather than speaking French or Dutch or German. It could be they have family here and they want to stay with the family they have here rather than staying in a country where they have no one. So there are reasons why people come here. It's not for money, because the UK doesn't actually offer that much compared to other countries for asylum seekers. So it wouldn't be down to that. But, the Home Office doesn't get that, and a load of other people don't understand that either. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.